Priest.
And I mentioned the conversation I had with Orange where I said, hey, buddy, you're going to get to play some Priest this tournament. That's going to feel good, isn't it? Well, so far, I'm afraid it hasn't.
He's probably playing more Priest than he wanted to in this match.
Right. He has picked up a couple of losses so far. One in a supposedly favored matchup against Tempo Rogue, although some top-level pro player would disagree with you on that, especially if they're more experienced on the Rogue side. But now, no more excuses, no more real arguments about matchups. It is a straight-up mirror that this is going to come down to.
Yeah, and whatever you say about the mirror, it is heavily reliant on Raza into Anduin. We saw what a lack of Anduin was doing against Warlock then, even with Warlock not having the best draw. But in this mirror, if someone has the ability to do the high burst damage and one player doesn't, it gets very rough. But if both players either don't have access to Anduin or both players do, along with Raza, then the game starts getting very, very intricate indeed about management of resources, managing card draw. All these small things add up to that package.
Tom is behind the game right now because we do see Orange sat on Raza, whereas Tom does not have any of the key pieces. But now, Pyro, Cleric, Circle package available in hand for Tom. That can change that card draw dynamic you were just talking about very, very quickly.
Even with the Acolyte as well, if Acolyte is just played this turn so it sits on the board, doesn't get pained, then suddenly, that's like just play these 3 cards, cycle half of your deck. Is kind of insane.
Classically, this would be considered a pretty poor play to just drop an Acolyte here, because it can get contested by a 3/3, it can get silenced, it can get Shadow Word pained, and as you mentioned, card draw very, very important. But that's one of the big issues with Hearthstone of going from a mediocre player, maybe a rank 5 player or a low-level legend player, to a top player, is learning when things that you've learned are bad are in fact correct.
You learn a set of rules and then you learn when to break them. Just to give you an update, this is match number 2 of the day. We did see Hoy lose to Doc Capone earlier on. And we've got Jason Joe versus Muzzy coming up later on. Every match is so good.
I know.
Oof. Didn't go for the Acolyte, Tom, last game. Last game? Last game, he might have played. No, last turn, so he's just going to hold on to these card draws. As you said, whenever you miss an opportunity of card draw, you give your opponent a chance to get one ahead of you, right? And then you never want to do that. You need to keep it, at worst, even.
Embrace the void.
Orange is going to drop the Orkanai to try and contest this board position. Oh, Raza changes everything, and there you see Purple maybe feeling slightly worse about this matchup now that he sees the Raza matching on the opposite side from Tom, because of course, incredibly close friends with Orange, even chose to practice together again for this tournament, despite the fact that they are both in it. And that has been a hot topic amongst the players, about whether that was an advantage or not. Because practicing with someone in the same tournament, yes, you are giving away your strategy to one of your biggest competitors, but it guarantees your practice partner is as motivated as you for the cause, and you get the best possible practice out of it. It's Pyro time.
It is Pyro time. Apparently said it's purple time then. I was like, no, that's not today. Or later on.
It's Chico time.
Wow. What a weird reference to hear you make, but this is what we were talking about earlier. The combination of these 3 cards can do absolutely ridiculous things. Tom already drew the Raza this turn, and now look how many... Oh, there we go. Look, but we say, oh, we got it, and it's like, yes, 5 cards ahead of his opponent. Like, he is halfway through his deck when Orange has 20 cards left. When you draw this many cards in one turn, it isn't unfathomable that, yes, you draw the Anduin, sorry.
He drew, what, 6 cards that turn? 1 off the Power Word Shield, 5 off the Circle. So he was 40% to draw the Anduin just that turn, let alone before that as well being factored into it.
And he still effectively has 3 turns to technically draw it in time anyway, right? Exactly. So it's so many cards in, and this is when the difference might appear, and that Tom might have just took too big a step ahead of Orange in the card draw race. Orange is definitely not out of it, though. Don't get me wrong. It's just Tom made a very impactful turn there, and Orange, the onus is definitely on him to now answer this and make something happen for himself. Options are limited, though. Raza, seems just a steady, solid option. You will then, or can use the hero power to deal 2 damage with the Okanai on board. He's going to go for a bit of a pyro fun of his own, drawing not quite as many cards, but still helping out.
Your pyro versus the pyro she tells you not to worry about.
I mean, one's still alive, so I'm not quite sure who's who on this side.
It's a fair point. And Orange has a little bit of history when it comes to burning cards in the Priest Mirror. Again, not quite as explosive as it was that we saw in Summer Championships, but hoping against hope that that one burn might have got him something relevant.
Yeah, I mentioned at the start of the day, the Orange Surrender Finals, for me, was one of the best matches of Hearthstone I've seen in a very, very long time. If you have not seen it, you should go back and at least watch the Priest matchup. That was
Agreed.
Absolutely insane. Now the Raz is going to come down. As you mentioned earlier on, like not playing Rouser when you can physically play it feels bad, but these turns make a big impact, right? Suddenly, Orange is applying a bit of pressure with this Pyro now, and Tom just has to be just as aware of a similar turn coming back from Orange. Orange still has those cards left.
I love it. I love it.
Have even more cards, friend.
Yep. Tom has exactly what he needs. That puts 2 Razas, well, puts 3 cards in his opponent's deck that aren't the Shadow Reaper Anduin or the Prophet Velen or whatever it is.
He just drew one.
Right, whatever it is Orange's hand needs from Tom's perspective, he doesn't know. He just knows there's a good chance he still needs something. Also, the 2 Razas themselves block Kazakas from being used at this point.
And they're just 5 mana, 5/5. Like, that's just not a good card in this matchup, at least. Here comes Anduin. This is the card Orange did not want to see, especially on turn 8, especially after Raza already being live. We can see as well that there's plenty of cheap spells and cards for Tom to play with next turn.
And a Lyra, and still an Auctioneer to draw. Tom's list is greedy. We had the debate earlier. Tom's just playing both.
Yeah, you don't need to make a decision if you just include them both.
There you go.
Also, the flexibility of Shadow Visions is huge as well.
Yep.
Like, what do I need on this turn to get the win? Okay, because quite often this late in the game, Tom's only got 10, 11 cards on 10 on the draw left in his deck. So he probably has a very strong idea as to what spells are even left. So he could just pick what he thinks he wants. There's one less spell. Now he's just waiting for Velen to say hello. Instant snap pick there of the Dragonfire Potion. Tom doesn't want to just let slip this advantage he has gained. He doesn't want to take 8-9 damage from just minions that happen to be on the board in this matchup. He wants to clear it all off. Did have an option of Mind Blast. Didn't go for it. Definitely wanted to stay ahead in this race.
Well, he's going to get some use out of this Pyro now.
I guess. Look at Orange's hand though. Oh, there's a Raza.
Raza number 3. Yeah. We're still waiting on an Anduin.
And the hand Orange has doesn't even do anything. It doesn't even get anything done now. That combo we just saw was about as much as he had. This is looking like a very, very tough one for Orange. Tom isn't exactly lacking in resources, and when you have a large amount of resources with this setup, you can do quite miraculous things.
Yeah, he's just going off. Potion of Madness on the Acolyte. He can ping it away.
This could actually just be lethal.
Yeah,
in a very funny way, yeah.
Does, yeah.
We'll just have to sit and watch this with you guys, to be honest, and see what happens.
Wait until the latest possible point to ping away that Acolyte, in case you don't need to. He's going to use the Spirit Lash anyway, so it's all irrelevant. Racking up the damage. Purify is playable as well. So much.
I've lost track of where we're up to now.
Yeah, the animations fall behind,
yeah,
which makes it a little bit awkward sometimes, but I think he might just get there, actually.
Second Silence as well, still has 1 mana. Still going to take a draw from the Lyra. We're using the Silence, of course. Pint size, castable. Okay, he's not going to... Well, depending. I don't think he's got time to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, well mind, not going to be enough, but let's be honest. Absurd amount of damage, absurd amount of effective card draw or card generation from Tom. Orange. Don't think there's a card that gets him out here. Binding Heal with Velen.
Then you've just exposed your Velen at
Yeah,
that point.
it's like okay, you might not be dead next turn, but then do you ever win? And Tom isn't even scratched at this point. He's on 31.
You're hooking up the life support machine. The Iron Lung is in full effect at this point, but you are very much in assisted living at this point. Sorry, it got a bit dark again.
I was gonna say I might have nothing to follow that up with because we're gonna go to a place no one wants to go to. Which death does Tom want to use? Lyra's not silent, so we'll continue to do silly things. Mind Vision, another cheap card to use out here. So much juice in the tank for Tom. Kind of another hero power. Don't want to play it though, it doesn't refresh. I wonder. Gonna save the smite. Knew that it was extremely likely he wouldn't get there this turn anyway. If he draws Velen, smites a lot of damage. You know, if not, if he plays smite next turn.
I wonder if he had Kazaka's 1-mana potion out that turn to end the game. I don't think it matters. Like, I don't think that was even the play. I just wonder if it was possible because he's got the game 100% wrapped up if he just plays normally from this position. And there you see it. Orange, the man who said he was very, very pleased to be playing Priest this tournament, has 0-3'd with Priest. 1-3 in total game score, and it's Tom who is going to progress through the winner's side of this bracket.
Yeah, both players an extreme wealth of experience, but Tom does take it over Orange. Orange not knocked out. This is a group stage, so there are lower bracket matches once they take the loss, but congratulations to Tom there. He's going to be going up against Pwn, who we saw take the win over Hoy earlier. Then we're going to have a Hoy versus